Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. Here on the table today we have a small trapper here, and this you may have seen in a recent video I did on my Whatnot auctions. I purchased this from a Whatnot auction, and as you can see, it was a used knife that I bought, and I just thought I'd kind of run through some of the steps on how we can rejuvenate an old knife like this. Now, this is not an expensive knife. It was a budget knife, and it is made, well, the maker is Pride Cutlery. It's very hard to see inside the guitar there. And then we have this blade edging or printing on there. It says King TCB. I think that's a throwback to Elvis. But I just thought, you might find an old knife that belonged to your dad or grandfather, or you pick something up in an antique store and you just want to clean it up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to rejuvenate it just a little bit. One of the first things you can start by doing is check down here in these channels. See if you've got any pocket lint or rust or anything on there. And as you can see, we got some stuff right there we need to take care of. And well, I can just take a small screwdriver just to get started. Let me get a paper towel underneath here. Just some little simple things that you can do here. So we can just kind of scrape on there. See there? We got some stuff off of there. Get a pad here so you can see it. So you can that just looks like a little bit of dirt in there. Something like that. And then just simply clean it out. This does not appear to have any rust on it, so we don't have to worry about rust issues. We'll scrape lightly down in there. Get a little more lint out of there. Now, depending on how clean you want it, we can take some rubbing compound and get clean down in there. I got these little cleaning patches. You can buy something similar at Walmart or farm supply stores. And it just looks like that. This is a smaller patch, and here's some of the larger patches. Buy them in bulk. I go through a lot of these because I clean a lot of knives. But if you want, you can just take a little bit of this cleaning compound, put it on your pad, down in there. One other thing I do is I've really liked using these emery boards, and you can get these in the pharmacy section, anywhere, health and beauty, I should say, just about anywhere. They're very cheap. But it's gritty, so it's grippy, so you can really get a hold of your patch here when you put it down in there. And you can press down on the liner and then press up to catch the other side, and then push straight down and clean down across the bottom. And you can see we got quite a bit of stuff out of there. And these are just some of the pre-steps, I guess you would say. Clean out some of that stuff. Okay, let me pause for just a moment. Okay, I didn't plan this video out real quick. I just started doing it. So anyway, I'll be putting this knife probably in an ultrasonic cleaner later. But if you don't have an ultrasonic cleaner, and it depends on how far you want to go, how dirty your knife is, the results you want. One thing you can do though is this is just some warm water with some Dawn dishwashing liquid in it. And of course, you could let it soak for 10 or 15 minutes. Let it soak pretty good. But again, we're going to be using the ultrasonic cleaner later, so I'm not going to worry about soaking it. You can just take an old toothbrush, Just kind of clean out in there. Wipe your knife off. And we're going to be throwing it into mineral oil, especially since we've had it here in the water and it gets all wet. This is just a nice initial step just to make sure you got rid of all the dirt, any loose crud on there. Helps keep your mineral oil cleaner. Just kind of scrub on it a little bit. And you always got to be careful because these blades get slick when they get wet. You don't want to slip off of them and hurt yourself, cut yourself. So we've done a lot of this here. And you can see the difference already. So what the mineral oil does is it helps lubricate these back springs. As you can see, that back spring lifts up as you start to close the blade. They look pretty clean, but they can get dry or they can be dirty. So you always want to check them, see if they need to be cleaned off any. I don't think they do on this one. And we're going to wipe it as dry as we can. As you can see, just doing something like that adds some luster back to that bone. Okay. And you look down in there. Looks a lot cleaner down in there already, doesn't it? So, again, since we've gotten it all wet, we want to make sure everything gets lubricated up. And we're going to throw it in a tub of mineral oil. And this is Equate, and this can be bought at Walmart in the pharmacy section. It's only like $2 for a jug of this, so very inexpensive. So we're going to let her soak in mineral oil. And this one, I know with bone, in my experience, I've never had a problem with the mineral oil doing anything to the bone. But whenever you're doing any kind of soaking or like that, you want to monitor it if you've never done it before. You know, check on it every 15 minutes, every half hour, whatever. Just make sure that it's not causing a problem. But I've really never had a problem with mineral oil hurting anything. So let's let it soak for, oh, this one's probably going to soak quite a few hours here. And we'll check back. Okay, here's the knife after it soaked for, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours. And then I got it all wiped off, all the mineral oil wiped out of it. And you can see just doing the soak in the mineral oil, how revitalized that bone looks. You get that film, that thin film of the mineral oil on there. It just makes it shine. Even the bolsters look shinier. Yeah, so doing something as simple as a mineral oil soak can do wonders. And I wiped out down in there. You see, it's awful clean down in there. I kind of decided to kind of change the trajectory of this video, and just we're just going to see how to rejuvenate your knife just using, you know, basic processes, things that you might have at home. Everyone can soak it in some Dawn dishwashing liquid and take an old toothbrush and, you know, clean it off that way. You can buy a cheap bottle of mineral oil and use an old butter tub or something to soak it in. You know, you're only out a couple bucks for mineral oil. And you might have some polish at home. And I thought it'd be interesting to test case paste against flits. Now, this isn't the original container for the flits, but it's a, well, it gets lots of raving reviews online. A lot of people like to use flits. But I just thought we'd experiment here, and we're going to do one bolster with the flits, and we're going to do one with the case paste. And I thought it'd be kind of fun just to see what our results are. So I'll take some case paste here. Just going to rub here just a little bit with it. That's what it looks like. And then I'm just going to let it dry. And let's take some flits here. Hopefully we got kind of equal amounts. And we'll just do some rubbing on here. There's all kinds of different metal polishes out there. Some's cheap, some's expensive or more expensive than others. Okay, just a little bit of rubbing there. Let's let that dry off, and we're going to buff it here in just a minute. Okay, so I let it dry for a few minutes, and this is the case paste side here. Just kind of rub it off, and we'll see what it looks like. There's that. And here's our flits. Okay. Well, I don't know if you can tell if one's better than the other. They both look pretty shiny, don't they? I'm going to apply one more coat to each one of these and let it dry, and we'll check this after the second coat. See if one kind of takes the lead or not. I have always had pretty good luck with the case paste. But I had a viewer named Howard who he loves his flits, and he's not the only one. It's pretty popular. But so there's some here that really love their flits. Of course, it would be different if I was using the power tool. You know, if I was using the Dremel with the buffing pad on it, might make a difference. But this is a good test, I think, doing it by hand like this. And I got to say, there is kind of something satisfying about doing them by hand. Okay, let's let them dry, and we'll try again here. Okay, we've let this second coat dry off here a little bit. Just rub on it, buff on it. So that's the case paste side. And here's our flits. Okay, now take a soft cloth here. We'll really buff it out good. Now this is not scientific at all, but there you have it. On the right here we have the case paste, and this is the flits. Actually, I don't see much difference, to be honest. That doesn't mean if I didn't keep polishing that the flits might come out better than the case paste, but you know, for your normal everyday use and normal everyday cleaning, you know, I think the case paste can hold up just as well for, you know, your light jobs like that. So, I mean, they definitely both look better than that yellowing and dingy color on the other side that we haven't touched. Something else I just thought I'd talk about with rejuvenating your knife. Now on a slip joint down in here, it can get dry down in there, so you always want to add a little bit of oil. Now it's not dry down in there now because we soaked the whole knife in the mineral oil. But let's say we didn't want to do, you know, a complete soaking. You can get a little tube like this. This happens to be sold by LCK Knives on Etsy, Last Chance Knives. It's a little tube with a needle applicator here for mineral oil. If you own some other tools, you know, the pew-pews, you might have some oil like this. This Hoppy's number 9. You could use this. And I found in a slip joint knife, the type of oil, I mean, the mineral oil is not going to last a long time as far as good lubrication. It'll prevent rust and that. But you probably want a little more heavy duty, something with a little more viscosity. Can't say the word. To it, something that'll last, a little heavier duty, something more like this. But a slip joint, in my opinion, it's different in the oil you use than like a modern folder. I know a lot of guys like the moderns for the fidget factor, and they want them absolutely smooth opening and closing. So you might want to, go online, and you can find some very expensive knife oils to lube those kinds of knives. But for your slip joint, hey, it's a slow motion action no matter what you do. You do want to have a nice walk and talk. So for me, just a little mineral oil, or like this Hoppe's, does just fine in the long run. You do not want to over oil because oil will attract dirt and dust. I do want to point out that like WD-40, you can use WD-40 to do a lot of cleaning, like down in the channels and that. But WD-40 is not a lubricant. The WD stands for water displacement. So yes, it can help you clean. It may help break down sticky, gooey stuff you might have on your knife, but it is not in and of itself a lubricant. Another thing is, if you get put some oil down here in your pivots, and put it right down in there so that it gets onto your back springs too a little bit, to get rid of any excessive oil. You can always buy a can of this like dust remover, and you can spray your pivots out. I tend not to use this too much because I do my work down in the basement, and I'm not trying to fill the air up with a lot of things, petroleum-based products. Again, another advantage of the mineral oil. Oh, let me just grab the bottle. Believe it or not, mineral oil is actually used as a laxative. So if it's gentle enough to be taken internally, it's gentle enough to be used on your knife. Also, it's a natural product. It's not, petroleum based like some of your other oils. So if you use your pocket knife for, peeling apples and doing things like that, it's probably better to have some sort of an oil like that. Always wipe your blade off, obviously, but yeah, so just another consideration. Well, I wanted to keep this video simple, and I think we've done so. You can see with just a few steps and a little bit of basic maintenance, you can really get your knife looking a lot better, just looking sharp. No pun intended. Yep. And I'm really kind of digging this knife. Yeah. So, hey, down in the comments below, why don't you leave me one of your favorite cleaning and rejuvenating tips? Because, folks, there's all kinds of products that can be used out there. There's all different manners of doing what I just did here. I'm not saying one's better than the other. There's just more than one way to skin a cat. So, until next time, have a very delightful day.